Hello, everyone. Welcome to Recharge TV. It's a special season finale today, and we have folks from past sessions here, which is really exciting. Daphne K. Jenkins, whose healing modality is food. She's an amazing food artist and connoisseur.
Hi, everyone.
And Rini York, who is an amazing acupuncturist and body worker, sound healer, spiritual guide.
Hello.
Liz Long, who is my dear clinic mate and also spiritual guide, does amazing Reiki transmissions and guide readings.
Hello, friends.
And the amazing Ines José Lopez from Oaxaca Mystical, who's going to share some of her Mixteca tradition with us to do a little rebalancing ritual today for the solstice and the new year. And it's so exciting to have you here as well.
Hi, everyone.
So we are kind of inviting in the solstice. The solstice is happening on the 21st. It's the 16th today. And there is some big stuff happening in the stars, not just the normal, like moving into the darkness, coming back into the light, but some big things in the stars. The Great Conjunction, if you're like in astrological and woo-woo circles, you may have heard of it. Saturn and Jupiter coming together. Every 20 years, moving into an air sign. It's the age of Aquarius, just like the song. And so we're here together, just kind of like keeping the vibe like we have all season, and also like helping ourselves and helping our community, all those watching who will be watching, just settle in and kind of compost the year that has been 2020, which has been a lot for everyone, no matter who you are, and usher in this new light of 2021. Not saying that it's going to be easy, but that we are here together and we get to choose how we move into it. So may we feel supported. And I'm going to pass it over to Ines, who's going to lead us in a little ritual. Hope everyone has their candles, unlit candles, and we're gonna bring in the light. So with that, I'm gonna give Ines the stage.
Thank you so much, Adriana. Thank you, everyone, for being here today and for allowing me to accompany you into this exercise that we're going to do today. And in the ancient cultures, they knew that the four main forces of the universe, or the four main elements, live within us. But they were very in connection with their spirit, and from there they were able to connect with the higher forces or with the higher spirit. So one of the things that I think that 2020 has brought to us is that 2020 has brought up to the surface the things that we don't like very much about us. And that has to do with our humanness, with being human, with being part of this planet in this physical presence that we have. And although I'm always working with people to help them connect with their soul, today ritual is going to be about us recognizing our humanness, our physical body, and everything that happens in our body, because most of our illnesses and suffering comes from this disconnection that we have, first with our own body, and then with everything else, with our own spirit and with the Great Spirit. So the unlit candles is a representation of ourselves, our body. And with that in mind, I would love for you, if you can actually bring your candle out of your container, that would be wonderful. But if not, that's perfect also. So to start with, I would like you to please close your eyes for a moment. I'm sorry, you can open your eyes again. And you can bring your candles, grab your candles between your hands like this. And you can actually place them right above by your forehead, or down by your heart, or in any part of your body that you are drawn to, just quickly. And now please go ahead and close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, you are going to inhale and exhale 3 times. And just breathe in and out normally. And just notice how you're breathing right now. Don't modify your breath. Just inhale and exhale and allow your body to feel your breath. And just feel it. And keep breathing and notice what's happening with you. What feelings you have today. Don't label them. Don't try to modify them or change them or judge what's happening within you. And remember that the candle that you have in your hands is a representation of you, of your humanness, of your physical presence in this physical world. Your body is you. You don't have a body. You are a body. And just notice how it feels. And you may want to say it out loud. You may just say, I am a body. And inhale and exhale. And you can go ahead and open your eyes and observe the candle. And just observe it and imagine yourself being that candle. And deep inside, start acknowledging your feelings. For example, I am angry and I feel the anger in my stomach. I have unspoken words and they are stuck in my throat. So start recognizing what you're feeling and where, what part in your body you're feeling that. And just notice. And remember that because we have a physical body, every emotion, every sensation that happens from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet is okay. It's just an experience that is happening here in your body, in your presence. So go ahead and keep acknowledging feelings, emotions. I'm going to remain quiet for about a minute so you can go ahead and take this time for yourself. And keep observing your candle. And keep pretending that the candle is you. And keep acknowledging all those feelings that you've been experiencing throughout this year, throughout this season. Maybe those feelings that you haven't been able to recognize because socially they're not a good thing to feel. Everything that you've judged as a bad thing, as a bad feeling, it's time. All your desires, all your passions, all those emotions and feelings that for some reason make you be stuck, or you feel that you're stuck. Remembering that nothing is bad or good. It's just what happens in the body. And it's what happens in the mind. Inhale and exhale. And go ahead and close your eyes. And place your candle up by your forehead and out loud say, I am thoughts. And just feel. And inhale and exhale. And place your candle down on your throat. And say out loud, I am words. Inhale and exhale, and allow that feeling to expand. And place your candle down by your heart. And say out loud, I am feelings. Inhale and exhale. And allow that feeling to feel in your body. Go ahead and move your candle down onto your belly button. And say out loud, I am emotions. I am sensations. I am emotions. I am sensations. And move the candle up above your belly button and say, I am emotions. Inhale and exhale. Now bringing down below your belly button and say, I am sensations. Inhale and exhale. Now go ahead and embrace yourself. And say, I am a human being. I am human. I am a physical presence. Inhale and exhale. And taking a moment to integrate this experience. Inhale and exhale. And go ahead and open your eyes. And you're going to go ahead and light your candle. Saying, I am a spirit. And yes, we are human beings with a wonderful spirit. Thank you so much for being here today, and may the light of your spirit guide you and allow you to be human and enjoy this human experience. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. So amazing. What an amazing feeling to be in our human body, to be our human body. I love that. And to be spirit as well. Thank you so much, Ines. Thank you so much. That was so amazing. I feel totally centered and renewed, and it was such a blessing. I loved, yeah. How does everyone feel?
How's everyone feeling?
I'm grateful to Ines. Thank you. I also just had a realization as I uttered words in different parts and acknowledged and sat with myself with what I was feeling physically. Just by acknowledging it, I felt some tension dissipate. Just by saying, like, I have this here. And then it was like, yeah, but not anymore. No, I just felt it loosen. So that was beautiful, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Daphne. And that's what happens when we allow our body to feel. So anyone else? How about Liz and Rini? How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling much more grounded, and I feel like there were things that came up, I think in my heart, places in my heart of things that I just have, I work so hard to kind of keep going, and just to take that moment to just acknowledge that, yeah, that's there, and just, allowing it to be there, and, that kind of holding space is just so powerful, and that kind of tenderness and compassion for my being, for my heart, for my body and my spirit, I feel like is just real powerful here, healing, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rini.
Yeah, thank you, Ines. I noticed when we started coming back on, I was like, oh, I feel so like inside that I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to, interact again, because that was just such a sweet, I don't know, I really appreciated being able to be in acknowledgement and the guidance of like just being with this year, and just I don't think I need to even say anything else about just like, being guided to sit with the bigness of that. And and I really appreciate I am this body. I love what you said. you don't have a body, you are a body. And my body, like, yeah, contains so much. And so, yeah, just it felt really sweet to sit in acknowledgement of that and basking in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. It reminds me, we were talking before we went live about being with the winter, and how, for a lot of us, if you're in a place where it gets cold, it gets dark, here in Portland, it gets rainy, some places it's snowing. And Rini was talking about how she was reading about places where it gets very, very dark. Like, it's perpetually dark, and people don't get sad. People don't have this negative response to it. And part of it could be because they're actually like with it, with the changes. And I feel like this year for me has been so much about being more with the changes of the seasons, being more with the flow of nature, but still that human aspect. I don't know that I've really digested it. Like, all of the human stuff that happened, the pandemic, work being really different, home being really different, all of that stuff. So I feel like just that invitation to be a body is like, oh yeah, you're not just observing the world, you are existing in it. You're being in the physical while being that spirit, right? Because it's also, if you're spiritually inclined or like doing rituals for yourself, it can also be tempting to just kind of check out of the body and not really be there for ourselves. And I think that's one of the things that I want to share about letting go of 2020, is like that urgency to like be something, and that tendency to abandon myself in the process. And I feel like your ritual just totally invites us in, like, back into being with ourselves, but not even being ourselves, which just feels so different. That just that little switch, it's like being yourself. You don't abandon yourself if you are yourself, like if you're totally embodied in yourself. So yeah, it was so beautiful. I wonder what you mean, if you would say more about what you mean with like 2020 bringing up the parts of our humanness that we don't like to see.
I totally think that I keep hearing people saying, "Oh, I wish that 2020 gets over soon because it's been such a horrible year." And I've been coming to realize that most of us are saying, most of us are saying that because we're so used to living a certain lifestyle, and we're so used to this, being disconnected from feeling. And this year, I would actually have to admit that it's actually one of the best years for me, because it has definitely brought all the things that I was not willing to see in myself.
Mm.
Because it's hard, and we're so used to keep going and going and going, and that we don't stop. And especially in this demanding world, that we need to become someone, we need to be someone, and in order to be someone, we have to have. And we've got to have things, and own things, and own a home, own this, have a partner. So everything is about having. That's why I think it's very important to stop having. So that's why I think it's important to acknowledge that we don't have a body. Because if we think that we have a body, it's a possession. We're possessing our body. We possess this. And now, because I have this, I can do whatever I want with this. Instead of saying, oh, I am a body, I have feelings, And from my feelings, I'm going to take care of myself because this is all I have. And that's why when people started getting sick, they didn't know what to do, because it's from this disconnection that we have from our own body. And 2020 has brought to the surface everything that we've had deep inside, all the anger, all the jealousy, all the ambition. When we started hearing about the pandemic, a lot of people started going to the grocery store, buying things that, really, toilet paper. Cubans, Asian people, they just use water. They rinse. Instead, really, there are so many things that we've been so concerned and so worried about, that when things like this, like when serious things happen or show up, we don't know what to do. And then we say, oh, it's such a horrible year. I am already starting to feel very grateful for 2020 because it's shown me my humanness. And it's shown me how weak I am, when things like this show up. And we tend to think that we're so independent and that we're so big that nothing is going to happen to us. But when things, when somebody tells us, stay home, cover your mouth, shut your mouth, don't talk, don't get near anyone, we're so obedient. And the first thing that comes to our mind is like, oh yeah, my brothers and sisters are dangerous. Let's stay away from them. I don't want to get infected. Because we don't know our body. So if we come back to this, then we will know, oh yeah, I haven't eaten very well. Maybe I should be more careful. Maybe I already know how to take care of my body to boost my immune system. I'm going to drink this. I'm going to take this. I'm going to sleep more hours. What else do I need? Oh, I need to go for hikes. I need to be in contact with nature. But it's more from, existing. And that is one of the things that the wisdom of the ancestors, or the wisdom of the ancient cultures in Oaxaca, was based in existing and being in connection with the basics. So 2020 has really brought us back to the basics. And for people that don't like the basics, we're having a hard time.
Oof. I'm going to put my candle down because I want to just snap to all of that wisdom. I saw Daphne doing some stuff. What were you thinking, Daphne, about as Ines was breaking that wisdom down?
It was refreshing, first of all, because I hear, I think it's trendy to come up with memes about 2020 and how horrible it is, and can't wait for this horrible roller coaster ride to be over with a kid screaming meme. And that's kind of fun, to just be like jokey, but I think it's important to acknowledge the whole experience. And I am refreshed by that acknowledgement and to be present to it too. It hasn't felt super safe to see like good things happen this year, or like I graduated and I, things like, instead of trying to put on airs to be professional and well accepted, I found like inherent worthiness in the stripping away. And so it's not always sexy to say that, or like people aren't always ripe to hear that. That even if I don't have toilet paper, or even if I don't have a job, or even if, that I'm still inherently worthy, beautiful, a body, a spirit, here, abundant in all these ways. And I think it felt, again, beautiful to be acknowledging this thing that has been inside of me, that now can breathe. Thank you to Ines. And breathe in your presence. I think that inherent worthiness is something for me that has been a thing I've known about. I've wanted to kind of cultivate, like dig out of my mind, you know, like find it and then like be like, here it is. But I haven't acknowledged it through every cell. And that invitation definitely occurred this year. Like without this, without a way of making a living, of making my ego, without things to show, here I am. What I do is still me. What I have to offer is still wonderful, beautiful, regardless of who's appraising it or paying it, paying for it, right? And I feel that deeply. So it's just different. It's different from every other year of my life, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as both of you are talking, I'm thinking, especially with Ines talking about how, what I hear you saying is like 2020 stripped away a lot of the things that allowed us to feel comfortable, but not necessarily content, you know? And I think about like, we need gravity to keep our bones strong. I feel like 2020 was like spiritual gravity. It was like, like now we know where, you know, like all the people that I know, like Ines, who have been doing like deep spiritual digging, like shadow digging, working with trauma, working with like old wounds. I remember a friend who's a psychologist at the beginning of the pandemic saying that like her clients that are traumatized, as she said, were doing fine. Like the people who are doing the work already on their emotional and spiritual traumas were like, yeah, I mean, we've already got the tools, you know? So, and I just think about that, like 2020, like globalized that spiritual gravity, I feel like, and it gave us an opportunity to understand where we're at, you know, and hopefully with no judgment, and just be like, okay, yeah, was I the one that hoarded toilet paper? It's okay, you know, like it's okay if I was that person. I did buy 8 gallons of isopropyl alcohol. I will just admit that, and they're sitting in my basement. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but it was a spiritual lesson. I was like, oh yeah, I was feeling vulnerable, and I bought that. So, yeah, I love, like, can we acknowledge that there is that potential beauty, that like composting of 2020, even as there was so much suffering, you know, that it doesn't negate that the suffering happened, but the suffering was there before 2020, you know, it's not like it's new. So yeah, maybe 2020 was a dumpster fire, but like there's been fires raging for a while here. We just see them on the national news now. So yeah, I love that. I love that we are talking about it, as Daphne says. And I think there are a lot of people who feel this way. It's just, yeah, it's not a meme, you know, it's not a sexy internet meme to say that we had spiritual awakenings during 2020.
And grief moved to the more of the forefront of in our particular culture. In my experience, I haven't really been around an American culture that incorporates grief in a routine way. And for me, this is my own experience. And I felt a few years back, like having had a personal revolution, like losing, you know, left a job, went through divorce, like really interesting, weird midlife crisis, maybe someone would say. And that felt very isolating, but then it feels more collective now, not because, I don't know why, but it felt cool to have you talk about the trauma. People who have gone through trauma and have the tools are okay. Not that I'm okay, but It was nice to have had that personal experience where I felt like I was maybe the only one going through that at the time.
Mm.
And now to have multiple people, like a more communal experience, but know what grief is and how to grieve. And that by going through grief and grieving and crying and wailing and anger and all of that, that I can move through it instead of, I don't know what the alternative is. Thank God I didn't do it. But that also was an interesting experience for me in 2020. It felt like that weird, horrible midlife crisis thing that I kind of went through before all my friends did or whatever. Very alienating time. I felt really prepared for this kind of grieving and this kind of like systems crumbling and structures cannot hold. Relationships must be redefined. All of that stuff. It's not a gold star to give me. It's just like, whoa, if I grieve, I can go through this. Mm. If I ignore it, I suffer.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would definitely, I agree with you completely. I feel like there's that ability when you can sit with the hardship to find those pearls, you know, the pearls of wisdom, or, you know, or just beauty, even amongst, you know, the destruction of systems or things coming down. And, you know, how we were talking before the live started, you know, about like with the ukuleles and things like that, you know, the last 3 years for my family has in ways been pretty devastating. And yet through that, we've found more joy and more, you know, connection and things like that. And there's more music, there's more laughter, there's other things that we've been able to refocus and prioritize. And so, you know, for us, there was a little bit of practice in that kind of, you know, isolating we'd had to do with like medical illnesses and things like that, and extra hand washing it, you know, like we've kind of been on that for the last 3 years. And but what's interesting is, you know, I remember being when I was in acupuncture school, and, you know, someone had said something about like, oh, go home and do something fun. And at the time, I couldn't come up with anything. You know, there was like nothing I could think of to actually like bring joy into my day, you know. And now it's like, I mean, there's a whole long list that I could do, you know, I could do at any time. And really that, you know, it was that hardship that really kind of forced me to, you know, kind of stripped everything false, you know, all the illusions away to really come back to that essence of what truly is important, and what do we truly have, you know, that kind of like possessions don't really mean anything anyway. So, you know, what do we have in this moment, in this, you know, what can we do just in this moment to shift things, whether we're in the hospital or, you know, like ill or things like that, and really find that beauty. So I really appreciated when you said, Ines, about that kind of gratitude for 2020, you know, of there were gifts, and being able to hold both, right? Hold space for the grief and hold gratitude for the gifts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we almost fetishize people who can maintain that joy and have very little, you know, or like are going through hardship. It's like always somebody else, some like superior soul or some caricature, you know. And 2020, yes, I love that. I love what you're bringing in of like, what is in this moment when, you know, a lot of us might have a lot less, whether it's like freedom or stuff or money than we might be used to. And where is the joy? You know, where are the things that bring in that joy and gratitude, or the practices in our life. And, you know, when you have something so serious, such a crisis in your own life or your family's life, it almost doesn't give you a choice, right? Like it's almost like a matter of survival.
Yeah.
Where you're like, either I do this or I cease, you know, because we can't not have joy.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, I think 2020 made that more common, which is unfortunate, but also it just is in some ways. So I don't know. What do you think, Liz Long? Are you feeling like sharing, or are you still in your...
No, I'd love to share. Yeah, I'm just feeling so just loving listening to you all and hearing your wisdom and perspectives. And yeah, I mean, something that I was sort of metabolizing as I was listening to everyone is, you know, like how there's a sense of beauty and, like, you know, kind of like Daphne was saying, we live in a culture that doesn't know how to grieve and doesn't talk about grief. And in fact, like beyond that, you know, in the United States, we don't talk about our feelings a lot. You know, it's like, we're like, okay, capitalism, I'm going to talk about my feelings about getting more shit. And like, you know, like Ines was saying about all those things that we have. And those are the things that we like have feelings about. And I feel like 2020 like brought the real, you know, like everyone like had to get real. And, you know, now when I see people on the street, it used to be like I'd run into someone and they'd be like, how are you? And I'd be like, well, like, here's the shit that's happening in my life. And maybe I'd talk about my feelings and they'd be like, what's this person like oversharing about, you know? And now we're in this space where we can really like, you know, I ran into some acquaintances the other day and, you know, and like we shared with each other like things that were happening that were really hard in our lives. And to me, like, I don't know, I appreciated what you said, Adriana, about like the gravity, that like we need gravity to exist. And that, I don't know, I mean, I think especially for like dominant culture, something in this year that was just like potent, hard medicine was like, you know, touch the ground. Like, here's the reality of the way so many of these systems aren't working. And yeah, I just think that there has been an opening to relate to people in a more authentic way, because we can like lead emotionally in ways that I feel like maybe weren't like acceptable or normal before, but now it feels like just an acknowledgement of a shared experience of difficulty, and that allows for deeper connection and honesty and realness like with other people. I don't know if that is making sense to folks, but so yeah, I'm appreciating, because I mean, it has been a really challenging year, but you know, as Ines, as you were sharing about that, you know, it just made me think of, and kind of like what Daphne was talking about, and also Rini as well, the times when in my life, you know, I've faced difficulty and hardship, and I didn't curse those times. It was like intense growth, you know? And so of course it's hard when we're growing. And I think collectively we've been in a growing process. And yeah, I'm just really appreciating the reframing of not being like, well, fuck this year and fuck this time, but like, what have we learned? Like, what have we gained? Because I know for me, like, I feel stronger and more capable and resilient and like able to connect in a different way. So I feel grateful for that, you know, and grateful for the learning that collectively, like, we now have under our belt, and for like what we're going to do with that, you know, like so hopeful and prayerful for how we will like use that collectively moving forward.
Yes. I love that realness. I love you talking about the realness. I feel like 2020 invited a lot of people into the realness. And yeah, and it's like, oh, no fun. But then it, oh, I totally just like blew out my candle. It's okay. The really real. You can see the smoke. And it's uncomfortable, but a lot of people are already in contact with the realness. And I think, and injustice came up a lot in the US this year. And I think part of our spiritual growth as a society is being in touch with the realness, because we're so anti-realness with like, all the shit we accumulate. And it's like, so it's such a bubble, like a utopian bubble of stuff. And like, yeah, the realness is creeping in, and some people see the beauty of that. Some people see the invitation to actually be in connection with each other and ourselves in a way that is actually satisfying. It's not just like a high that we get out of accumulating, titles and things. And so I love that you hit that on the head, the realness, which I think is so true. Y'all, should we maybe draw a tarot card for the year? And like, so Liz and I, when we moved into our space, we made a little potion. We made like a little, like, for the collective healing, a little medicine. So I would love to draw a tarot card and see if that takes us someplace, but also end with just kind of a prayer for the collective, for this group and for the collective, as we say goodbye to this cycle and start a new one. Will you do that with me?
Should we unmute, Ines?
Yeah.
I mean, Adriana, sorry.
I love it. I love being confused with an amazing person. Yes, please unmute. May we all use our words. Okay. May it be so. And I'm going to shuffle. And please join me in investing a little bit of spirit in this deck to ask for I want to say bendición, ask for like a blessing of of this time. Who knows what we will get? If someone feels the call, let me know if I should stop.
I think it's ready.
All right, here we go. Ooh, the star. It's nice to have a good feeling when I was like, oh, I hope it's not like a
the Five of Pentacles.
That's shall you see. No. Okay, the star. It's a beautiful one, full of color. And these Roman numerals, they always get confused. Hold on. Okay. The star, which is, what do they call it? One of the archetypes. So hope, peace of mind. Standing outside on a dark night, you gaze up at the stars and sense glimmers of wonder and hope. Even though you can't find concrete answers to life's many questions, up there in the sky, you can't help but feel comforted and renewed. Such is the energy of the star card. It is not about actions or situations. It's simply about connecting to the part of you that is hopeful and serene. This force will bring light back into your life and infuse you with positivity. A lovely card.
I mean, could it be better? Like, what? And we were talking about the astrology of 2021. Like,
Yeah, I love that it's a
wow.
rainbow. It's up there in the sky. I love that it's like, we don't know, but there's a bigger, expansive picture to this whole thing, right? The spirit, the body, the all of it together. One day we might know, we might feel like we know what we're doing. The next day we have no idea, but we look up, you know, we know that we are stardust. We know that we are spirit and body, and it's okay.
And when it's very dark, we can see those stars. Even though the sun is also a star, those are, we have access to those when it's dark. And how many more mazillions of those are there to see in the darkness?
Yeah, I love this card. And it just, it makes me, I mean, we were talking about the pandemic and kind of staying in place. And this is the first year that I won't be leaving for the winter at some point in the winter to go to Texas, which is warmer and has more light. But I feel like as a result of that, like I've been able to sit with the darkness more, and like I'm kind of excited about it. And I'm excited about like this dark night, that's coming. And I just feel like this card, especially, finding that brilliance in the darkness, and like, I don't know, remembering that like the darkness isn't like dark, as we were talking about this whole year, is like revealing so much like richness and beauty to us. And when people look back on 2020, they might be like, oh yeah, it was like a dark time, but does that mean that it was bad? Like it doesn't, that there's this like, maybe the star is like the medicine, that we're taking with us, into the next year, like everything that we've like collected from each other, the lessons. And so couldn't be more perfect.
I also love that energy of the wonder. I think of how expansive that is and how receptive that is to, I've been thinking about the energy of wonder, and how, some of how like we're having access to information so readily almost can like stunt that wondering that I know I used to do as a child all the time, and just that kind of, how expansive that is. And I love that combination with the stars and that wondering in the dark, because there's that receptivity to what's hidden, and sometimes that what's hidden can be that beauty, that pearl, that's not just this obvious thing right in front of us, but that can be, sometimes the thing I feel like I've worked hardest for, but like the greatest gifts are those things that are a little bit hidden.
That was so rich what you just said. It was like,
Yeah, I love that mystery, and that's like that illuminating the mystery, and and how light and darkness work together. Like as a kid, I was always scared of the dark and all the things that could be hidden there, and really, really embracing that space, and instead of it feeling suffocating, of it feeling expansive. And we were talking about the elements, and we were talking about like space and ether, and how traditionally we think of it as empty, but really space is substance, and so I was using that in one of my meditations. And so I was researching it, and if we condense all of our matter in our body it's a speck of dust. So we are mostly space, right? And if you combine all of humanity, the substance of humanity is the size of a sugar cube, like all of humanity. So the rest of all of that is space, you know? And so to me, it's like getting that connection with space is what holds us in place. You know, like space is what holds the stars up, and space is what holds us here, you know, and that to me, that's like that being held by the universe, you know, that connection to all that is, and that fabric of existence. And to me, it's like that darkness, that space is where all of that juiciness is, you know?
Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yes. Can we each give a one word just prayer for the coming of this time? Does anybody? Ines, would you start us off?
I would like to say, let's not be afraid of the darkness. You know, like all of you share this, all that you've said makes sense. And if we are afraid of the darkness, we're missing out. You know, 2020 has also brought to the surface the wonderful part of ourselves also. So I think by allowing darkness and just, you know, allowing being human and allowing our emotions just to flow through and just feeling, I think that's just if I was to say something to close the year, it's such a beautiful experience to be human, and it's so beautiful to allow our bodies to feel. And if we're willing to feel, then it's just wonderful. And I think that's where the work is. Stop labeling feelings and just feel them and just be with our feelings. And that's part of the human race and humanity. So let's just all feel. You know, and just by feeling, then we're in tune and we get going. And that's what it's all about. It's just feeling.
May it be so.
May it be so. May it be so. Mine is more than one word, but I'll be concise.
Great.
And my
I think
prayer
we're in that direction of
my prayer and offering is for folks to name and identify the strength that we all found this year and put it on your altar, treat it as precious, do a ritual to make it a part of yourself and walk forward with that lighting your way.
May it be so.
May it be so.
May it be so.
Thank you. My prayer is that people can reflect their beauty and honor the perfection of the creation that they all are, that we each are. You know, that we each have this place and each are significant, and just to honor that and reflect that.
May it be so.
May it be so.
So
Okay. And if everything is all stripped away and all we have left are the stars, how bad is that? And also, we should all run off and listen to Bohemian Rhapsody, very loud volume, as soon as we finish this. May that be so.
May it be so.
We have to explain to people that we have a collective love of Bohemian Rhapsody.
It might be the song of 2020. Who knows? We'll have to like listen to it and look into it.
Yeah, expansive yet intense. I think
All over many genres.
so many.
Harmony.
Ooh. You all are amazing, and I love you all so much. And I hope for us really to embody the star card, that wonder and that hope of not knowing, the excitement, the gratitude of not knowing, of the space between that's not really space, of our humanness, of our body, our spirit, and all the things that we just don't know, the mystery, and to be curious about ourselves and each other, and all the stuff between. So wonder, I think, is my prayer.
May it be so.
May it be so.
Beautiful.
Thank you, lovely souls. This was amazing. May this be a prayer for all who watch and witness. And thank you for everybody who is watching, who watched. And we'll see you in 2021 with a new season.
Absolutely. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
All the beings who helped us have this amazing conversation. And I'm going to like this here. I'm going to relight this. To all of you, to all of us, may it be so.
To all of us, may it be so.
May it be so.
May it be so.